Aloha and welcome. My name is Taylor Norris, and I want to share with you today a little bit about Reiki 1 and 2. Reiki is universal life force energy. It's spiritually guided, wise, intelligent, beautiful energy that is used in a Japanese technique for healing, stress reduction, and relaxation that provides all kinds of healing for the physical body, the mental, emotional body, the spiritual body as well. The healing can go quite deep. And because the energy is intelligent, it will do whatever is necessary for your highest good. Now, in a Reiki 1 and 2 class, that actual class will attune you to the energy so that you will be a channel for this intelligent life force energy, as well as instructing you and training you and empowering you with practice time using specific tools and techniques, such as the Reiki symbols and ways you can give yourself and others Reiki treatments. So, one of the beautiful things about Reiki 1 and 2 is that it's perfect if you're a beginner, you've never taken Reiki before, or any type of energy healing or spiritual healing. Maybe you're completely new. Reiki 1 and 2 is where to start. There's no prerequisites at all. And Reiki 1 and 2 is open to everybody, regardless of your age, your background, your religious beliefs, any kind of beliefs, anything like that. Everybody is welcome. The only requirement is that you resonate with the energy and you're open to receive Reiki. You have some interest or curiosity, maybe for your own healing, maybe because you want to share healing and relaxation, stress reduction with other people. These are all wonderful reasons to take a Reiki 1 and 2 class. Another thing I'll mention is that Reiki 1 and 2 is also okay if you're not a beginner. So it's very common for people to actually take Reiki 1 and 2 over again. I've taken Reiki 1 and 2 more than one time as well with different teachers. And this can be a really enriching way to expand those Reiki 1 and 2 skills, as well as get alternative perspectives. Maybe different teachers have different things to say about the symbols, or something else might highlight for you and come in as a wonderful insight. And of course, every time you do the guided meditations and Reiki experiences, the attunements or the placements, as they're called in Holy Fire, which are guided meditations during which you actually receive the Reiki energy, and the Reiki energy links in with the symbols you will learn. Each of those experiences is completely unique. So just because you've taken Reiki 1 and 2 before doesn't mean it'll be the same the second time. It was certainly different for me when I took it over again, and really wonderful both times. It can also be beneficial to take a Reiki 1 and 2 class if you've trained in a particular lineage and there's another lineage that is calling to you, maybe using a different frequency of the Reiki energy, such as Holy Fire, which is the lineage that I teach in. It's very common. I know in past classes that my students actually had already taken Reiki 1 and 2 in another lineage, and they were interested in receiving the Holy Fire energy in particular, because people like myself and others have spoken really highly about the Holy Fire and the types of results and experiences we've had working with the energy. Or perhaps you've done one of my guided invocations or Reiki journeys and you felt the power of this energy, because it is it's very powerful. It's hard to miss, it's like, it's gentle, it's deep, it's soft, but it's like, it's not subtle. Like, it's very It's very powerful. It's very perceivable for those, especially who are wanting to expand their perceptions. I'll talk a little bit now about my own personal Reiki 1 and 2 experience. I had no idea what I was getting into. Someone I trusted and looked up to was offering a Reiki 1 and 2 class, and I decided I would take the class from her. Reiki had been on my radar for a while, for a couple years prior, but I never really knew what it was or had that impulse to actually take my next step and sign up for one of those classes. So finally in 2019, it felt like finally, because like I said, I was traveling around Asia a couple years prior. I would see, I was going to different raw food places and meditation and yoga. I remember seeing like Reiki on signs and offerings, and I never tried it, but it kind of like bookmarked in my mind. So when she offered the classes, I signed up, and I'm so glad I did. They were extremely healing experiences from the immediate, from the very beginning. The first class I took in Reiki 1 and 2 was online. I later retook Reiki 1 and 2. Oh, I'm sorry. My first time taking Reiki 1 and 2 was in person. And then my second time, I repeated and I took it online. And so in the very first training, I actually did connect with spirit guides. I became aware of spirit guides that had been working with me since I was a child. And also specific Reiki spirit guides came in, introduced themselves. You may have heard of the Brothers and Sisters of the Light. They made themselves known. I believe it was in the very first Reiki guided meditation experience we had in that Reiki 1 and 2 class. I had no idea who the Brothers and Sisters of the Light were, but I remember I was sharing after. I was like, yeah, these wonderful pure white light beings came in, and they were like this group consciousness that to me didn't really seem like they had gender, but they were all together in very enlightened, ascended master type of energy. And later on, when I finally took master and the higher levels, I started hearing about Brothers and Sisters of the Light. It was like, wow, they came in from that very first Reiki training for me. So it was very confirming in the experiences I was having. And like I said, connecting with guides was really wonderful. Connecting in a group with other people who are looking to heal themselves and tap into their own healing gifts, expand their healing gifts. That was really wonderful as well. And I was so excited after that. I was so intrigued. I had so many questions, really. You do learn a lot in a Reiki 1 and 2 training. You learn a lot. And I remember feeling like I had learned a lot, but it's almost like I had just like the tiniest little portion. And I was like, I want an entire cake of this, like now. And I want to learn how to bake the cake, and I want to be able to make the cake every single day. And so I was starving for this. I was starving for more information about Reiki. I was starving for more Reiki experiences, doing self-treatments and also doing treatments on others so I could learn more about what is Reiki? How does this work? What kind of results are possible? What kind of results are typical? What are other people's experiences? What are my continued experiences? Like more. It's just the coolest thing. I thought it was the coolest thing because, again, I talk about this a lot. Nothing outside of you is necessary for Reiki to work. It's you inviting the energy, receiving the energy comes. You don't have to have, crystals or tools or sound or anything else, plant medicines or any kind of thing to induce an altered state. It's literally just working with the technology of the human body, the human energy field, and expanding our perception. So that was just so, so incredible to me and so refreshing to me, after having lived however many years in this very material reality and this material reality focus kind of culture where it's like what you see is what you get, and you need stuff to do things and you need hard work to do things. Reiki just completely rewrote that story. It's like you don't need stuff to do things and you don't have to work hard for this, and yet absolute miracles can happen, do happen, will happen. It's absolutely fabulous. So I was fortunate enough, 6 months after that first Reiki class, I took Reiki 1 and 2 again. And in that 6-month gap, I was doing self-Reiki every day, and I was doing as many Reiki sessions for other people as I possibly could, and learning a lot and having a lot of healing happen already in that first 6 months. So by the time I took Reiki 1 and 2 again, it was actually right before I took my Reiki Master. I was taking Reiki 1 and 2, 2 days in a row, and then Reiki Master 3 days in a row. Now we'll come back and talk more about my experience with Reiki Master and more about that class. But taking Reiki 1 and 2 online was very, very powerful, because then suddenly there was no hands-on treatment happening. I was learning more about distant Reiki. What do you mean you can do hands-on healing at a distance and it still works? I thought you had to touch, your own body or the other person's body in order for Reiki to work. No. People always give me, like, not always, but often, when I'm like, oh yeah, I do my sessions online. They're like, Reiki online? What? Yeah. In Reiki 1 and 2, learning how to do Reiki online at a distance is very, very powerful as well, because talk about opening up the intuition, talk about opening up the psychic senses. This really happens, and you come to see, even at that very beginner level, people start opening their intuition. Just the very act of doing the distant Reiki session for someone else really opens the perception up, and you can't be making it up or getting the information from the environment, or like based on how the person is acting or something like that, as you might be able to have those excuses, like in an in-person situation. When it's online, and like, this is all you got. You got the box of the person in the Zoom, and you have yourself tuning in and doing the session how you're trained to do the session. But it was so powerful. I remember being very impressed with distant Reiki at that point, and really interested in doing a whole lot more distant Reiki, because most of the Reiki I'd done up until that point had been in person, and my interest then was very much piqued. My curiosity was piqued about, okay, this distant Reiki, this is very interesting. This is very empowering. This is very multidimensional. I, the practitioner, can be here. At the time I was in Arizona. I can be in Arizona. I could be treating someone in a distant Reiki session who's all the way across town. And I am in my apartment, my space, having this really deep, blissful experience, and they're in their house all the way miles away having their experience, and Reiki is coming directly to me, and I'm receiving it, and Reiki's also going directly to this other person, and they're receiving it. this is really interesting, and to also receive the feedback from the other person, like, wow, I was skeptical, and no, I really did feel it. Like that was really wonderful. And what was really cool too after that is having clients I had had in person, and then I did my first distance session with them. So they had that in-person experience to compare to. They knew how they felt, they remembered, they liked it enough to do it again. And then with the distant Reiki experience being like, wow, that was just as strong and powerful and wonderful as when, you came to my house and you did it that way, where your hands were on my body. So very, very, very cool to take the online Reiki class. And in the Reiki classes I'm teaching online, it's using Holy Fire 3, World Peace Reiki energy. So it's the most upgraded, up-to-date Holy Fire energy that's available. And so that's what I teach, and that's what it's based in this manual, which you can see is quite thick. It's very comprehensive. It's a comprehensive and thorough training, and really gives you a good foundation. It's not a class where you receive your Reiki attunement, so you have the energy, and I spend 30 minutes talking about a technique. This is not how the class goes. It's full on. It's 2 days. It takes place on a weekend, and you learn a lot. You learn a lot of information as well as tools, techniques. You receive many guided meditations, you receive the attunements, and you get to practice both on yourself and on others in the class who are also beginners. And it's a totally stress-free environment in which to do that, because Reiki is all about stress reduction. So you're basically getting to relax and receive energy with other people, which is tons of fun. Please let me know if you have any questions. The class dates are all posted on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. I will list that below in the description. You're welcome to reach out to me by email with your questions as well. taylornorris@zohomail.com. My email address will be listed below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Much love to you. Namaste.